an evaluation manager at EIT Food, and I will guide you through this presentation on EIT Food key performance indicator and their reporting via the newly adopted platform My EIT Food. As you know, the platform indeed was changed shortly ago, so some features have been updated. And the platform, My EIT Food, is now ready for you to report on KPI achievements 2025. So here, an overview of the contents of today's presentation. So we have, first of all, some context on what are EIT KPIs and how to check which are the KPI commitments at Cava level on My EIT Food. Then we will have some insights on the specific EIT KPIs definitions and reporting requirements per KPI. So bear with me, it will be a little bit of a lengthy part. Then on the third part of the presentation, we will guide you through how to report practically KPIs on My EIT Food, so IT-wise, how to do it. Finally, we will have a short review on how the KPI review and approval workflow works. And finally, we should have 10 to 15 minutes for Q&As. Please note that we have enabled the Q&A facility for this meeting, so all questions can be asked in the Q&A facility. You can also ask them directly when we arrive to this last point of the webinar. And of course, I just remind you that all questions that are specifically related to your activity or to a specific consortium should be asked separately. So we can only answer to questions due to GDPR compliance that are generically applicable to all activities. So let's get started with the first aspect of the presentation. So giving you some context on what EIT KPIs are. So EIT KPIs are measurable indicators that basically demonstrate how effectively EIT Food is achieving its key impact objectives. The list of EIT KPIs is actually stemming from a public document, which is the EIT Impact Framework 2022 and 2027, that basically leads the way for all the KICs, so the knowledge innovation communities, on how to measure their impact in the period 2022 to 2027. So when we talk about reporting requirements, such as defined structured data and defined supporting evidence that you should provide in order to have your KPI validated, we actually refer to the very definition of these EIT KPIs that stems from this document. And therefore, this is why we cannot have a lot of margin of maneuver to have these structured data and this supporting evidence modified. So we should stick to the EIT Impact Framework when it comes to data validation. So therefore, each activity that is EIT funded is asked to commit to at least one of the KPI indicators that are detailed in the EIT Impact Framework. So how to check which EIT KPIs your Cava is actually committing to? In My EIT Food, so you have the section My Applications Projects immediately when you open in the homepage. You should select it, and then of course you will see the list of your Cavas. And once you enter the Cava, you have a tab that is specifically dedicated to KPIs. So there you will be able to check which EIT KPIs are committed for your Cava. You will see also, if you click on the KPI, you will see which is the target for the specific indicator in your Cava. However, please consider that from this visualization, you will see the overall commitment during the entire lifetime of the project. So if, for example, your activity was implemented in 2024 and is being implemented in 2025, you will see the total target for 2024 and 2025. If you wish to check specifically the target related to a specific year, you should then check the technical report that is related to the reference year that you want to check the data for. We will see in the coming slides when we go to the session related specifically to how to report KPIs in My EIT Food, how you can do that. But please consider that when you enter the KPIs section of your project, you will see there only the overall target. Then, when you will enter the KPI, indeed, you will see there is this specific information on the target, but as we said, this is related to the overall lifetime of the activity. And you will be able also to see some disaggregation settings relating to the reporting. This is actually some information that is particularly relevant for the reporting. So in order to be able to check that, you should enter the specific indicator in the KPIs tab. So once we know now from where the EIT KPIs context comes from and how to check which are the commitments on My EIT Food, we can then start digging a little bit more into the content and the definitions of KPIs specifically. So EIT KPIs achievements are usually reported yearly to the EIT. So usually they are reported by Q1 of year N+1 for the KPIs that were achieved in year N. So for example, now you will be requested to report on KPIs achieved in 2025, and the finalization of the reporting of these achievements will have to be performed by Q1 2026 from EIT Food to the EIT. So there are some exceptions though, because some KPIs are multi-year. So it means that they can be reported up to 3 years from project completion. So if, for example, a KPI was then committed for 2 years ago, we can still get back to the activity, although the activity is closed, to request for the evidence of this KPI that was committed by an activity that has already been closed. So we can see later in the presentation which KPIs are multi-year. So for which KPIs the reporting is enabled also after the project has closed. A note here, you will receive further communications, of course, in the coming year, but from 2026 onwards, KPI reporting will actually happen on a rolling basis. So it will be possible to report KPIs continuously, and project monitors will be able to validate and assess these achievements on a rolling basis so that we can keep transferring KPI data to the EIT throughout the year. So not just only during defined KPI reporting timeframes. After the KPI achievement has been reported by the activity leader on behalf of the consortium, and the project monitor has reviewed the results, indeed EIT Food transferred the data to the EIT, as we said, and there is then a final step, which is the KPI achievement validation that is performed by the EIT. So usually this happens in the Q2, Q3. So most probably next year it will happen between April and July. And the validation concerns double reporting checks, so verifying that each single achievement is not a duplication of another. So for example, if an activity is reporting to have achieved a marketed innovation, that it has not been reported twice, either by the same activity or by another activity led by EIT Food. The check on the correct format and accuracy of the structured data provided by the activity leaders, and same format and accuracy as well of the supporting evidence substantiating some of the KPIs that have been reported. So in this case, if there are any issues that are stemming from the KPI validation performed by the EIT, then us as EIT Food, we may have to come back to the activity leader to check specifically that issue that has been identified by the EIT, asking therefore for additional evidence proofs or justifications of the data shared, etc. But this is on ad hoc basis, so there is no specific reporting window open. So it's just ad hoc on any KPI achievement that on which the EIT may have any follow-up question or justification required before proceeding with the validation. So we prepared on EIT Food Hive, so on which I think most of you have access to, but if not, please, I would advise to get an account as soon as possible. You will find a page with resources on KPI reporting, which includes the list of BP 23-25 EIT KPIs, so basically the valid EIT KPIs now for 2025, that we will in detail now see in the next slides. But you will have also this document to support you and to circulate eventually if needed, with the definitions and the reporting instructions. So detailing which are the structured data and which is the supporting evidence that is requested. You will find the templates for supporting evidence files whenever templates from EIT Food are requested to be used. And you will find also templates for achievement submissions, because as we will see, some specific KPIs will be requested to be submitted via an Excel template with a specific format, and that you will find indeed also here in Food Hive. So the link is in the presentation. You will receive the presentation as well, along with the recordings after the meeting will end. So let's get started with the first family of KPIs. So we have the EIT 01, intellectual property rights, which refers to the number of innovative products, processes, and methods resulting from the KIC activities. So for this KPI, the structured data required refer to the year of reporting, the type of intellectual property rights, the application title, reference, date, IPR owner, etc. So you see them all listed here to the right. No supporting evidence is required, which means that no document will have to be uploaded in my EIT Food when you will report the achievement. We then have a second group of indicators, which is the marketed innovations one. So you have here 3 sub-indicators. First one is EIT 02.1, which is the marketed innovations that have no minimum sales threshold. So this means that any marketed innovation, so any product or service that has been launched on the market, despite of the amount of sales reached, can be reported as a marketed innovation EIT 02.1. And you see here to the right the kind of structured data that are requested to be able to report this sub-indicator 02.1. So again, year of reporting, the name of the innovation, its type, country of the market, etc. You see the second subtype is the risk subtype of the same indicator above. So it's basically products and processes that have been developed in risk countries. So just a caveat here, quite relevant, which is the fact that risk indicators are actually available because some activities, specifically part of the risk portfolio, are committing specifically on these indicators. But EIT is actually considering risk achievements simply by checking which is the country of reference for the development and the achievement of the KPI. So in case your activity, and this is valid also for other sub-risk indicators, not only for EIT 02, may have committed to the sub-risk indicator and to the main indicator, please consider that only one of the two will be reported. So EIT will consider it as risk by default, considering the country, whether it is risk or not, of implementation and achievement of the KPI. So you won't have to submit twice the achievements, otherwise it will be in any case considered as double reporting, and one of the two will not be considered. If you have committed only for the risk indicator, then no problem, and the reporting can happen as normally. So you will just report on the risk indicator. Then third indicator part of this marketed innovation KPI is the O2.4. So in this case, this KPI refers to the marketed innovation with a specific revenue threshold. So a marketed innovation that has achieved at least 10,000 euros sales. So this KPI, it's a core KPI. Core means that basically a KPI that has a higher impact evaluation standard. And this means then that supporting evidence is required. So whenever a KPI is a core KPI, EIT will ask us to substantiate its achievement and to justify its achievement, also via a certain set of documents that may vary, that varies usually, for each core KPI indicator. So in case of marketed innovation O2.4, you will have to provide on top of the structured data, which is the same set as for EIT O2.1, you will have to provide, first of all, a description of the product or process that has been developed, and this via an EIT Food template, which you find available already in the folder that we showed you in Food Hive. Then you will have to upload a declaration demonstrating the link with a specific CAVA, so the set declaration signed by the activity leader, also to be submitted via a template available in Food Hive. And finally, you will have to share a documented proof, such as an invoice or an online sales record that demonstrates that the marketed innovation has achieved this minimum 10K threshold. We pass now to the third group of KPIs referring to the code EIT03, supported startups. Here we have only two sub-indicators. So we have the main one, O3.1, supported startups, referring then to the number of startups that were supported for at least 2 months in a certain year. The structured data are here to the right, so referring to, again, year of reporting, company name, registration number, website, country of registration, etc. And you have only this sub-risk indicator as sub-indicator for this KPI, and we have the same reasoning as above. So if you have a duplication of these, only one of the two will be considered when transferring the data, because the EIT is actually calculating risk achievement by the country of registration in this case. Fourth group of KPIs refers to startups created, so EIT 04. Here too we have 3 sub-indicators. We have 04.1, which is non-core, so no supporting evidence required. It refers to the number of startups that are established in a year and as a result of the outputs of the CAVA. And there is no minimum threshold of sales. In this case, just because they are non-core, you will then have to submit only structured data. On the other hand, if the KPI committed is 04.4, so number of startups established with at least 10K euros of services and products sold, or at least 200K raised via private investment into startup equity, on top of the structured data that we saw for EIT 04.1, you will have also to share 3 additional documentation, which are: 1, the registration certificate of the startup established; to the description of the startup and its core business to be provided using an EIT Food template. And finally, a document such as an invoice or the online sales record that can certify that the minimum threshold of 10Ks of financial transaction has been met, or alternatively, that 200Ks of private investments minimum were risen. So in this case, again, you see the difference between core and non-core. So core KPIs do require some supporting evidence to be uploaded, so physical documents to be shared. Then fifth group of KPIs is startups created by students. So here, the KPI refers to the number of startups that were established by students enrolled and graduates from EIT-labeled master's and PhD programs, or by learners and participants in other EIT-labeled activities. So this is also a core KPI, but there is no minimum sales threshold to be respected. In this case, as you can see from the supporting evidence list, a simple document such as an invoice or an online sales record that can certify that there has been a first financial transaction led by this startup established by students is sufficient to get the achievement validated. On top of that, a registration certificate of the startup established, of course, and the description of the startup and its core business to be submitted via an EIT Food template must be submitted to get the full set of documents and to get validation enabled for this KPI. The sixth group of indicators refers to the investment attracted by KIC-supported startups and scale-ups. Here too, we're talking about a core KPI. So on top of the structured data referring to the investment amount, company name, country of the company, etc., you will need to share a self-declaration of the startup, providing the amount, type of investment, source of income, and declaring the link to the specific CAVA for which the support was received. So the EIT Food template is also available for this supporting evidence, and of course it is requested to be used when submitting the achievement. Then we arrive to the education group of KPIs, so 07, 09, but the same discuss will apply for EIT 08 as well. So EIT 07 is the indicator that refers to graduates from EIT-labeled programs, and EIT 09 refers to students from EIT-labeled programs. So the two indicators belong to the same family, let's say, so it's an educational KPI. And the distinction between the two is actually made by the EIT considering the structured data. So based on the structured data, you will select basically if you are reporting an EIT 07 or an EIT 09 achievement. If EIT 07 is selected, then we're talking about graduates, and then in that case, we're talking about a core KPI. If you're declaring students, then EIT 09 automatically is the KPI of reference. For EIT 07, although this is a core KPI, there is no supporting evidence in terms of supporting documentation to be shared. However, the achievements will have to be reported via an Excel template that is also available in the Food Hive page that we showed earlier. So the activity leader will be asked to submit the template via the KPI reporting interface. This basically to enable a swifter reporting and to avoid having activity leaders to enter sometimes hundreds of structured data form for each graduate and for each student. The only constraint is indeed that You should respect the format of the template because it is also this format in line with the reporting requirements that we have been discussing before, and the structured data format should not be modified. Any modification to the format may cause data review requests from the EIT and may actually delay the approval of your KPI. So please be aware of this. EIT 08 is again, education KPI and refers to the participants in non-labeled education and training. So it's a non-core KPI, but the submission also works as for 07 and 09 via a dedicated template, so an Excel template that you will find in FoodHive. And it's the same discuss that we did for 07 and 09. So the reporting via this template should take into consideration the format requested, so no modifications to the Excel template that we have prepared in order to avoid any delays and further lengthiness with the validation of your KPIs. Finally, the last indicator that we need to approach is the EIT 16, results disseminated through EC dissemination tools. This indicator needs to be treated a bit separately. So the reporting will happen on my EIT Food. So the indicator is available for reporting in EIT Food. But in order to trigger the reporting in my EIT Food for this indicator, we should first be able to track that the reporting has happened on the EC dissemination tools. So we should enable the activity leader to disseminate the result on an EC dissemination tool, and then once we have the confirmation that the dissemination has been implemented, we will be able to trigger the reporting on my EIT Food for this indicator. So for this specific KPI, you should basically reach out to your project monitor so that the dissemination can be kickstart in the via the suitable tools. And once we will have the confirmation, we can proceed with the final step in the reporting in my EIT Food. So this was the overview of the indicators that are currently available for reporting 2025. Now, let's go through what it means KPI reporting specifically in my EIT Food platform. So for those who already had experience of KPI reporting in the context of EIT Food reporting, the rationale has not been modified. So you will recognize some patterns repeating, and it will be mostly about recognizing how to act and where to implement actions in my EIT Food. But for the newcomers, of course, this may be a little bit of a, new procedure, new process, so don't hesitate if you need any clarification at the end of the session. So KPI achievements in my EIT Food, as it used to be in the previous platform, are reported by activity leaders on behalf of the whole consortium per year, per CAVA, and per KPI type. So you will find a KPI reporting interface under your yearly technical report. So to reach the technical report, you enter the project, you click on the reports area, and then you will see all the list of available reports, including the technical report 2025, which is your reference when it comes to reporting achievements in 2025. So once you have entered the technical report, you will find this tab called KPI results. So in the KPI results, you will see there all the EIT KPIs committed for your activity in 2025. So as we mentioned at the beginning of the session, that in the KPI tab, in the overall project area, it was possible to see only the overall goal and the overall commitment throughout the lifetime of the activity. Here you can see that in the technical report of a specific year, you can see the specific target for that year for the specific indicator. So in this case, for example, we have for the project indicator O2.4, so the innovations with at least 10K sales documented, we have a target of 1. And this target of 1 refers to the year 2025. Then when you click on the result ID, you can then see further details on the specific target for the year 2025. And you will also find on the top right corner of the screen a report achievement option. So this is where basically you have to go when you want to report KPIs. So you enter the specific indicator. So say I want to report my marketed innovation. I click on the result ID, and there in the technical report section KPI result specific project indicator, I can start reporting my achievements for year 2025. So after you hit the report button, you will receive this window opening up. You will have, first of all, to declare the value that you are reporting. So how many achievements you are reporting and the date achieved. So it's very important to consider that the maximum value to report for all KPIs, except for the EIT 06, the investment attracted, the 07 and 09, so the students and graduates from labeled programs, and the EIT 08, so the participants in non-labeled programs, the maximum value is 1, because all the structured data and all the supporting evidence have to be linked to single achievements. So we need to be able to track the specific set of data that are related to each single achievement, with the exception, of course, of these other 4 indicators. You will have, therefore, for example, if you want to report 2 marketed innovations, you will have to click twice on report achievement, and for 2 times you will have to insert 1. This way you will create 2 separate submission forms, and via these 2 separate submissions form, you can submit us the structured data for the first marketed innovation and the second marketed innovation. So let's take now an example, for example, this marketed innovation. After I have declared that I am submitting 1 achievement, for which I will share documentation later, I will then click on submit, and a window will automatically open, confirming that a KPI achievement form has been created. I can then choose whether to click immediately on the Open Achievement button, the one that you see highlighted, and start inserting my data, so my structured data that we saw in the presentation, and my supporting evidence files to be uploaded, because this is a marketed innovation 02.4 that we took as an example. Otherwise, if I cannot proceed immediately with the submission, the draft achievements will be saved and will be available under the Achievements tab section of the Technical Report Results area. So you will be able to see which submissions are still pending, because you see there is a status column, and whichever achievement has not been submitted will be marked as in progress. So you can at any time enter the achievements that you have created, fill in the data, and finalize the submission. Just note that, of course, all the achievements that are marked in progress are not transferred to the project monitor for review. and will not be validated. So only the achievements that have been submitted are actually counting for the reporting. So please, also in view of the future deadlines and finalization of the reporting, make sure that you have no achievements in progress left behind, and that any achievements that needs to be reviewed is actually submitted. So once you have entered then the submission form, whether immediately or afterwards by recuperating the achievement session, you will see both the structured data, so basically a questionnaire, very similar to what was happening also in the previous platform we were using. So you will see a questionnaire, and all the structured data lines that are marked with red asterisks are mandatory. So if these are empty, submission is not enabled. Then for those KPIs that need supporting evidence to be submitted, you will see that you will find, at least for each document, an upload file option. So it will not be possible to upload files in a bundle, but for each file, you will have to upload the specific file that is requested in the field. After you will have submitted all the structured data and supporting evidence file if required, it will then be possible to submit. You will find the submit button on the top right corner of the achievement form. You will be asked to confirm the submission again, as you can see by this pop-up window. This because once the achievement is submitted, it cannot be modified any longer by the activity leader, and it goes to the project monitor for review and assessment. So be aware of this. Of course, anything that is in progress is not shared with the project monitor, but anything that is submitted cannot be edited anymore. So we reach now, let's say, the end of the process from the activity leader side. And let's then have an overview of how the KPI review and approval workflow works. So the project monitor, once they will receive the achievement that has been submitted by the activity leader, they will have to verify the compliance of the achievement with the reporting regulations that we saw earlier. So specifically, the project monitors will check the relevance and coherence of the structured data, and also the relevance, coherence, and formatting of the supporting evidence, which means, for example, that for the marketed innovation, they will check if the template was correctly used for example, the declaration of the link to the activity or the description of the product, that all the declarations are duly signed, and also that the structured data and that the supporting evidence are coherent with each other. So, for example, that the title of the product that is being declared as marketed is compliant with the name of the product that in the invoice results as sold. So these kind of checks will be performed first by the project monitor, but also a final sanity check will be performed by business operations. So be aware that you may have to address some questions also after the project monitor has approved, in case there is any issue arising prior to the final reporting to the EIT. Once the project monitor will have finalized their review, they will either approve or reject the single achievement. In case of approval, the status of the achievement, which you can check in the technical report, will change into approved. And in case of rejection, on the contrary, you will also see the status changing in the achievements tab. But in order to be able to see which are the comments that the project monitor has sent you after the review, you will have to click on the submission name. So only after clicking into the submission name, you will be able to see the comments that are related to the rejection. This is particularly important because if the project monitor rejected your achievement, this doesn't mean that the achievement is completely wrong. So maybe the project monitor just flagged that there is some inconsistency, for example, what we said before. So the name of the product that you are reporting does not comply with the name of the product that is declared in the invoice that you have uploaded. So the project monitor may just want to ask you to provide some updated evidence that is compliant with the name of the product that you are reporting. So for you to be able to see which are the comments and the requirements for the approval that the project monitor has shared, you should open the submission name and check the comments section. So after this, let's say, deep dive into the approval, I think this is all you need to know for the moment in terms of approval workflow. As mentioned, the KPI reporting facility is currently accessible via My EIT Food. Of course, if you would experience any issue with the reporting form, or if you would spot any KPI target misalignment, please address directly the question to participants at EIT Food, who will then dispatch the specific question to the EIT Food staff that is more relevant to tackle the issue. In terms of timeline for the 2025 KPI achievements review and submission, again, big caveat here, as you received before earlier in the day an email regarding the 2025 reporting launch, which dates will be confirmed as soon as possible in the coming weeks. These are just rough guidelines, of course, rough guidelines on the time frame, and some modifications may still happen in the coming weeks. But I think that you can consider that the KPI achievements 2025 submission by the activity leader side will have to be finalized by the end of January 2026. The KPI achievement 2025 assessment performed by project monitors will happen roughly in February 2026. And this will include also eventual rounds of clarification, request of modification. So what we just saw in case the KPI achievement has been rejected. Then there will be the consolidation of the achievements that will have been reported and reviewed by the project monitors from business operations. So this third layer of check, let's say, that is performed before the final reporting to the EIT. The deadline for this exercise is March, but it will be performed on a rolling basis. So as soon as the validation will be, as soon as the achievement assessment will have been performed by the project monitor, the data will be shared with the EIT. And the final validation round, so the case in which EIT will come back with questions on specific KPI results, will happen between May and July 2026 indicatively. So in this case, we will come back to you with specific question on the KPI achievement you had previously reported. So here I think we can tackle then the Q&As. I will just stop sharing so that I can check the Q&A form. Okay. I will start just from the first one here, from Tierna. In our project, it would be possible to accompany as a marketed innovation less than 10K in 1 year, but reaches the threshold of 10Ks the year after. how should we deal with this? Could we count the innovation in 2.1 in 2025 and 2.4 in 2026, for example? Yes, in this case, Tierna, you can already report if the innovation has been already marketed but did not reach the threshold, so it's eligible as 2.1. You can already report it now in 2025. And then it can be reported again in 2026 as EITO 2.4, so core KPI with minimum threshold of 10K sales reached. Of course, considering that you will need to provide the suitable supporting evidence. So second question is, can you share the link to the AGA to be able to check timesheets and costs?
Julia, I did. I shared the link.
Okay,
it is
great.
In the comments.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Okay, what is Reese? I see that you commented already. Okay, Pircola. Okay. With EIT HI project under EIT Food Kick, does this mean that we report KPIs at the EIT HI level and also in the My EIT Food? So double reporting. Okay, no, that's a good question actually. But there is no double reporting. So we actually work on a double layer. So our work with the EIT also consists of making sure that what is reported at KIC level, so at EIT food level, also for the HEIs and also for cross KICs, complies with what has been reported by the HEI coordinators and the cross KIC coordinators. So in this case, this is kind of an exception of the double reporting rule, but the answer is basically yes, you have to report to EIT Food as well. Then another question from Marina. What should we do if we have no KPIs showing up in the platform? Yeah, so in this case, if you have no KPIs showing up, please reach out to participants at EIT Food. You should also, of course, note down the number of your CAVA so that we can check which is the reasoning behind. So probably there has been a data transfer check missing or something similar, but of course every EIT funded the CAVA has some EIT KPIs allocated, so we will solve it. Let's see, I see some new posts. Erica, if during the project we realize that we can report a new KPI, example, students who graduated, it is possible to add new KPIs as an amendment and then report it at the end of the project? Yes, absolutely. It's possible to report additional KPI types that have not been previously connected to the activity. But in order to do so, you should also reach out to us. So send an email to participants at EIT Food. It is also advisable to consult your project monitor first so that they are aware, and they can be, of course, a first filter for, let's say, advising you whether it is the case to add the KPI or not. And then we can add the indicator to your indicator set and you will be able to report. I think that is it. Unless there is any other question live from you now, don't hesitate to raise your hand.
Sorry, just a quick question. Hi, Erica.
Yes, hi.
So for the KPIs related to results disseminated through European Commission channels, so as I understood well, we should ask to project monitor which kind of supporting evidence we should submit in the report, right?
Yeah, so basically the steps here are a little bit more complex because we need, as a supporting evidence for the reporting on this KPI, we need the link where the result has been disseminated.
Yeah.
And to get this link, we need to give you access to the EC dissemination platform.
Okay.
So in order to give you access, we should first check if the result is eligible for dissemination. So it is good to go before we agree on giving you access. And once we will have given you access, you will have disseminated the result on the platform and we will have got the link. Then we can proceed and also report the achievement of EIT 16, which is this indicator we're talking about in my EIT Food.
Okay.
So that is the procedure. So you talk with the project monitor, you explain which is the result that you want to disseminate. We agree on it. So we say, okay, this is eligible. We can go on. We give you the access. You publish, we get the link, and then we report on my EIT Food.
Okay, right. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay. Otherwise, of course, don't hesitate to reach out directly with participants at EIT Food, and we will dispatch accordingly the questions. Otherwise, in general, yes, the recordings of this webinar will be available in case you need to recheck, rewatch any moment. The slides as well. I think they will be. We can also publish them in the same report, KPI reporting resources platform, let's say, that we have created in Food Hive, probably Barefoot, so you can refer just to the same resources platform when it comes to KPI reporting.
Yes, as always, I will send an email to everyone and then you will see where the link is and you can find everything in one place. There is one more question just arrived. What is the deadline for reporting?
So the deadline for reporting, as we said, we don't have yet the finalized time frame for the reporting, but please consider that KPIs should be submitted by the end of January 2026 in order for us to be able to process the data, verify that all the reporting requirements in terms of formatting and quality of the structured data and compliance of the supporting evidence files is performed. So consider, yes, end of January. Maybe it's a little bit conservative estimation, but I would feel quite safe confirming that end of January is a good proxy. Okay. I don't see other questions for the moment, but
Maybe, sorry, again, Herika, very last quick question
yes.
linked to reporting timelines. Because I see that that the approval process is quite long. So, for example, for the KPIs that will be reached at the end of the project, so the last year, so this project for the approval and the validation will also endure for after the end of the project. I mean, so we will be contacted by EIT Food to provide, for example, additional information even after the project life or not.
It depends on the KPI. So the multi-annual KPIs, so those that you're referring to, are the group EIT 02, so the marketed innovation, the startups created, so the group 04, and the group 05, so the startups created by students. So these are multi-year KPIs, so they can be reported up to 3 years after project ends. So I would say it depends on the KPIs that are committed by your project. But if you want to have a confirmation, as we said before, for GDPR compliance as well, we do not treat specific questions related to specific consortia in the webinar now, but you can either drop a message here in the Q&A and then we will respond you separately, or drop an email to participants at EIT Food and we can check the specific set of KPIs of your CAVA.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Okay, then I think that if there are no questions left, we can wrap it up and give you back 4 minutes. if that's okay with you all. And again, thank you very much for having taken the time. I hope this session has been useful and has been clarifying some questions regarding KPIs. If not, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you very much and have a nice afternoon.